All right, so you know who Blake Lively is, right? Most people know her. Yeah, see, the people who are booing, they know.
Then I went back and reviewed some of the limitations of the litigation privilege, and I realized Lively may have made a big mistake.
Did Blake Lively's team just make a big mistake?
Blake's case is falling apart. She's destroying her cred.
Now they're going to have to prove that, and we'll have to see how much of what they share is going to be considered attorney's eyes only, or was it all BS?
Her lawyers are stupid. She wants different rules for her than she wants for Baldoni and his team.
See a bully a bully attacking somebody. The bully being Blake Lively and her powerful lawyers. And thank goodness Justin's got support.
Basically, we do see gag orders in cases, typically in criminal cases, because the stakes are so much higher, and that's to protect the criminal defendant, because under the Sixth Amendment in the United States, the defendant has a right to a fair trial, and the prosecution's release of information about the allegations in the criminal complaint can, taint a jury pool. So we will see criminal case protective measures. We'll also see them sometimes in very, very sensitive civil cases. I don't see that here, particularly since she is the one who has gone out there so publicly herself.
It's insane. What are you talking about?
It's intensely personal. It's getting more personal. They're going to discover more information that's going to make them angry. They're out to salvage their reputation, so there's not going to be an easy way to walk away from this and say, okay, let's just call it a day.
Because not only could it be not good for the legal case, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for the PR side. And so I think the sooner that they can kind of figure out a path out of this, the better.
Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired former CIA agents with a proven track record of lying to the public, gaslighting the public.
The judge heard the arguments. I felt Friedman made the better case.
I don't know how much is going to come through in the transcript that can be read now, but audibly, because we were able to call in to that hearing and listen to it, there did seem to be a lot of stress and a lot of tension, particularly when it came to those points.
It's like, grow up. You're in the public eye. You've got probably hundreds of millions thanks to your husband. Just shut up. No one cares that you got a couple of bad articles about you in the Daily Mail.
Juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility.
I don't like her. She seems like a bully. She seems like somebody who punches down to somebody who's only trying to do something nice for her. She was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat. He had to bend over backwards just to get her to shut up and complete the film.
Welcome back to Tea Time with Tina. So most of us can't even handle getting a parking ticket without freaking out. But imagine filing a lawsuit so spectacularly clumsy that even your most loyal fans start questioning your decision-making skills.
Of course, the internet is going to say, well, Justin Baldoni's side won here. And I think they're right.
Well, that's precisely the head-scratching foolish situation Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds landed themselves in, orchestrating what might be the most ill-advised legal showdown in recent Hollywood memory. And here's the kicker. They're not exactly at the top of the celebrity food chain, no matter how hard they might pretend otherwise.
Team Blake Lively may think they have the upper hand. Sources say she has no idea what's coming regarding her battle with Justin Baldoni.
Once upon a time, they soaked up media attention with cute little anecdotes about how down-to-earth they were. But rumors started swirling that behind those oh-so-relatable interviews was a duo desperate for the spotlight. Then, in a mind-boggling twist, they decided a lawsuit would be the perfect way to get that spotlight. Except they fumbled the whole thing like a bad comedy routine.
Blake Lively, her brand, Ryan Reynolds' brand, have totally been tarnished by this because the world now sees them for who they are. They cannot act their way out of this.
From alleged phony witnesses to contradictory testimonies, Blake and Ryan's legal circus became the talk of the town. Not because they're Hollywood royalty. Plenty of bigger names have had more dramatic scandals. But because this fiasco was so amateurish, it made onlookers wonder, are we sure they know how lawsuits work?
Blake Lively apparently wanting control of a movie she did not control, wanting to get the camel's nose under the tent as an actress and then take over the entire production, mission creep on steroids.
Adding to the absurdity was Justin Baldoni, an actually decent human being who somehow got pulled into their meltdown. You might be thinking, how does a relatively middling celebrity couple drag an innocent third party into their chaos? Great question. Let's unravel the tragedy that is Blake and Ryan's foolish meltdown and see how Justin Baldoni nearly got sideswiped by their questionable tactics. What happens next is truly insane.
The SH has nothing to do with taking over the movie, even though she doesn't deny that she took over the movie.
Now, before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe, because let's face it, I'm nothing without your support. Now back to the tea. For years, Blake and Ryan tried to pass themselves off as the epitome of charm. Never quite megastars, but definitely eager for that next rung of fame. They'd show up on red carpets, attempt witty banter, and grin in talk show interviews like they were auditioning for America's nicest celebrity couple.
It's amazing. I mean, I'm not one for, vomiting declarations of sentiment out across the airwaves, but when we had that baby, I fell more in love with my wife than I'd ever been in my entire life.
That's the way it works.
I couldn't even believe
That's
it.
That's exactly the way it works. It brings,
And I used to say to her, I would take a bullet for you. I could never love anything as much as I love you. I would say that to my wife. And then the second I looked in that baby's eyes, I knew in that exact moment that if we were ever under attack, I would use my wife as a human shield.
With Justin also was off the charts. I mean, really, truly, you fell in love with both couples, with Lily, with both of them. And Blake, you always have a vision. So talk to me about how sometimes you were even the intimacy coordinator in some of those sexier scenes. Like we saw you.
That shouldn't be happening, by the way. I just want to be clear that you should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have. Thank goodness.
You were teaching Justin how to pull you in.
Where have you
loved
seen
that.
I actually just saw it too. It was on Instagram yesterday, I think.
I mean, I think that romance is really important. You're supposed to tell a story well and make people feel, but you're also supposed to do it in a way that is safe and respectful for all.
But as any part-time Gossip Mag reader could tell you, the cracks were there if you looked close enough. Industry whispers hinted they weren't the friendly, squeaky clean personalities they presented. Some said they'd do anything for more publicity. Others insisted they simply had a knack for stumbling into controversy. Either way, they seized on a golden opportunity, a lawsuit so dramatic it would have made a tabloid editor spit out their coffee. Here's where it gets downright foolish, apparently. They thought they could stage manage a courtroom the same way they might stage manage an interview or photo op. Spoiler alert, real judges aren't exactly swayed by puppy dog eyes or carefully curated social media posts.
Her testimony won't even count. And that is that's a harsh reality, because if the jury chooses not to listen to anything she has to say, she's the best witness in this case. Trials are about the truth, and juries want the truth. And if you lie to them, they will hold it against you.
Amid this unfolding drama, the name Justin Baldoni popped up, leaving many folks scratching their heads and saying, wait, the guy from that heartfelt show with a knack for meaningful storytelling? Why is he in the middle of this fiasco? Turns out Justin, who's known for advocating genuine conversations about masculinity and emotions, got pulled into the Blake and Ryan vortex simply by being in their orbit. If you've ever been the innocent bystander in someone else's train wreck, you can probably relate. He'd done nothing wrong, no shady deals, no weird stunts. Yet rumors started flying that he was getting the cold shoulder from Hollywood big shots, purely because he was within 100 miles of this ridiculous lawsuit.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit.
Oh boy. Well, for what?
I'm just going to tell you, you're going to have to wait and see. It's coming up soon. But it's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take over the movie and used her PR people to try and destroy Justin.
Cynics might roll their eyes, but word on the street says powerful industry figures like Ari Emanuel blacklisted him for not towing the official line. All Justin had done was attempt to remain a decent human being in a sea of questionable motives. Which leads us to the question, why did Blake and Ryan even want to sue in the first place if it meant dragging half of Hollywood down with them?
We don't think we should have to present some of our text messages in discovery with our high-profile clients, that being Taylor Swift and whoever else. Some people say Bradley Cooper and whatever other friends of Blake Lively might get sucked into this.
So about that lawsuit. Picture a scene straight out of a third-rate courtroom drama. Minimal plot coherence, a rotating cast of characters giving contradictory statements, and a lead actress, Blake, turning on the waterworks so frequently you'd think she had a personal assistant just for tier management. Now, to be clear, Blake and Ryan aren't exactly on Hollywood's Mount Rushmore of star power, but they've still rubbed elbows with some influential names. They apparently decided to call in those connections like they were collecting Monopoly properties. I'll take a favor on Boardwalk, a hush-hush phone call on Park Place. Case in point, a Freakonomics podcast episode that allegedly poofed into the digital ether. One day you could stream it, the next day it vanished more thoroughly than the logic in Blake's lawsuit. Suddenly everyone was asking, where did it go and why?
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' powerful super agent appeared on a podcast explaining why he believed Blake Lively instead of Justin Baldoni, is how he called it. And then something odd happened. The podcast didn't get recorded. Neither the audio nor the YouTube video, both just miraculously didn't get recorded.
Could it be hush money, a high-priced bribe, ex-CIA wizardry? Conspiracy theories ran wild, and the controversy only ballooned. If you thought things couldn't get more absurd, welcome to Hollywood's rumor mill. Word spread that Blake and Ryan hired former CIA operatives to handle their crisis.
Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired former CIA agents with a proven track record of lying to the public, gaslighting the public.
Because apparently standard PR flacks just weren't cutting it. Seriously, who do they think they are? International supervillains plotting a global takeover? But the real joke here is how obvious the cover-up efforts were.
She is now working with Nick Shapiro, the CIA's former deputy chief of staff and senior advisor to former director John Brennan. Nick Shapiro worked for the CIA for a lengthy period of time before launching his crisis PR firm 10th Avenue Consulting in 2015.
The more they tried to scrub details from the internet, the more people started digging. The more they tried to silence folks with hush money, the louder the whispers became. It was like watching someone frantically try to mop up a water spill, only to knock over an entire bucket. Through it all, Justin Baldoni calmly carried on with his life, focusing on meaningful projects, positivity, and basically being the guy you wish you could be when everything around you is a dumpster fire. He probably deserved a medal for not losing his sanity amidst all this swirling chaos. The public, always hungry for juicy gossip, initially gobbled up the drama like free popcorn. But after a while, it dawned on everyone. This isn't just a misunderstanding. This looks like two minor celebs trying to manipulate an entire legal system, and doing it about as gracefully as a penguin on roller skates.
You know, if it's not relative information, we don't care. It actually proves the point of the audience, saying, well, yeah, we all love salacious stuff, but in the end, it's all about finding the truth of was she actually harassed or not?
Media outlets started shifting gears. They went from praising Blake's style choices and Ryan's comedic timing to dissecting every suspicious detail of their lawsuit. The tabloids, which usually thrive on sensationalism, seemed almost overwhelmed by how outlandish the story was. Like, even they needed a moment to catch their breath. Fans who'd once admired the couple started feeling duped. Was the entire down-to-earth shtick just a marketing ploy? Were all those relatable social media posts carefully calculated to cover up a penchant for dirty legal maneuvers? The unraveling was swift and merciless, and it left Blake and Ryan looking more like schemers than the adorable sweethearts they once tried to portray.
The world now sees them for who they are. They cannot act their way out of this.
In a typical Hollywood scandal, everyone involved comes out looking shady. But Justin Baldoni somehow emerged as the lone beacon of decency. He didn't grandstand or rant, he simply continued advocating for empathy and real conversations, almost as if he was politely ignoring the meltdown happening in the next room. Sure, Hollywood bigwigs might have temporarily turned their backs on him, guilt by association, or so the gossip goes, but the public didn't. In fact, folks admired how Justin kept his cool when faced with the swirling vortex of nonsense around him.
Because I don't believe masculinity is toxic, and I think it's become politicized. I think toxic masculinity has been a term and a phrase that's been weaponized and then used against men to make men feel less than. And I've found that even if there are aspects of masculinity that are carried to excess that end up being harmful to both men and the women and the people in their lives, nothing good ever comes from pointing the finger at somebody.
His reputation remained solid, even as Blake and Ryan's crashed and burned in spectacular fashion. If there's any moral to this comedy of errors, it's that you can't just up and decide the law will bend to your will, especially when your master plan looks like a script from a bargain bin soap opera. Even if you're moderately famous, you're not automatically unstoppable. Judges apparently don't care if you've been on a magazine cover or if you can crack a decent joke on Twitter. Blake's attempts to orchestrate a narrative, featuring phony evidence, teary monologues, and behind-the-scenes deals, collapsed under the weight of their own absurdity, and Ryan got dragged through the mud right along with her. And poor Justin learned that Hollywood politics can be ruthless, even when you keep your nose clean and your heart in the right place. So here we are, left with a slightly tragic and cautionary tale of two mid-tier celebrities who thought they could manipulate a legal system and ended up looking like the punchline to a joke no one wanted to hear. At the end of the day, it's a testament to how even a moderate amount of fame can inflate egos to the point where rational decision-making goes out the window. Justin Baldoni, meanwhile, remains the unexpected hero, proof that you can stand for something good in an industry that thrives on spectacle. His halo might even have gotten shinier amid the swirling chaos, further highlighting Blake and Ryan's blunders by contrast. As for the infamous lawsuit, it's now an example of exactly what not to do when the spotlight starts to fade. Don't double down on questionable tactics. Don't assume you can outsmart judges with crocodile tears. And definitely don't hire ex-CIA operatives to hush things up if you don't want to spark an even bigger frenzy. So the next time you see a headline about Blake and Ryan grasping at straws to salvage their reputations, remember this saga, because once the internet sees through your game, no amount of script flipping can fix it. Maybe they'll learn that in Tinseltown, the real story inevitably spills out. And when it does, it's usually not the version you tried so hard to spin. But hey, at least we got to the bottom of Blake and Ryan's foolish claims out of it. And Justin Baldoni, he gets a round of applause for simply refusing to join the circus. In a land of illusions, where public image sometimes matters more than actual truth, Blake and Ryan's misguided lawsuit stands as a shining example of how not to handle your dirty laundry. No matter how often you pose on red carpets or crack a half-decent joke on a talk show, you can't fool everyone forever. Maybe next time they'll skip the courtroom drama and, just stick to half-baked movie roles and lukewarm interview banter. Because if this fiasco proved anything, it's that trying to manipulate the legal system can make you look like the ultimate fools, especially when your neighbors, like Justin Baldoni, are busy being actual decent human beings. And with that, we draw the curtains on this insane tragedy. Until the next scandal, because we all know Hollywood's never short on those, remember that even Z-list celebrities can create epic chaos if they try hard enough. Whether that's impressive or just sad is for you to decide. So, what do you think? Did Blake and Ryan completely self-sabotage their own reputations, or is this just another case of Hollywood egos running wild? And more importantly, how did they actually think they'd get away with something this messy? One thing's for sure. This lawsuit will go down as one of the most absurd attempts at legal manipulation we've seen in a while. And while Blake and Ryan scramble to repair the damage, Justin Baldoni gets to walk away from the circus with his integrity intact. Because sometimes simply not playing the game is the smartest move of all. But we want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Blake and Ryan will ever recover from this PR disaster? Or has their reputation officially entered "we can't take them seriously anymore" territory? And how do you feel about Justin Baldoni getting caught in the crossfire? If you enjoyed this breakdown of Hollywood's latest ridiculous scandal, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the chaos behind the celebrity curtain. We've got more shocking stories, hidden scandals, and behind-the-scenes drama coming your way, so stick around because trust me, things in Hollywood are never as picture-perfect as they seem. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.